Wrestling Review.
Welcome, fellow retro wrestling fans, to the Retro Wrestling Review. Triple R. I am your host, Troy Adams, and I am very excited today to dive into our subject at hand. We are talking Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. That's right. And we are going to be watching along to two big matches of his from Chicago. That's right. The first one is going to be against Lou Thesz. That took place at the Chicago International Amphitheater, and we are going to be covering his match against Pat O'Connor as well. That took place at Comiskey Park. The match against Lou Thesz actually took place in 1950, June of 1950 to be exact. The match against Pat O'Connor took place 11 years later in June of 1961. So we're going to be covering both of those matches today. I'm going to get into some quick facts here, just rapid fired about Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy, and I'll go through more as we go through watching the shows here, or the matches rather. Real quick, Rogers was a 13-time world champion, notably holding the top championships in both the NWA and WWWF, today known as WWE. He was actually the first WWF champion, or WWE champion, whatever you want to say. Obviously, he, inspired Nature Boy Ric Flair. He got his nickname Nature Boy actually from, I want to say it's a Nat King Cole song, Nature Boy. So that doesn't really have much of a meaning to it, because that's always been the question. What does Nature Boy mean? Whatever you want it to mean, I guess. It means what Buddy Rogers is. But go listen to the song Nature Boy. And also, I believe he innovated the figure 4 leg lock. If he didn't, if he didn't innovate it, he at least helped to popularize it. That's for sure. Also, by the way, he is only one of 3 men in history to have held both the NWA and WWE titles. The other two, Ric Flair and AJ Styles. Not bad company to be in. All right. By the way, he was not a huge man by any stretch of the imagination. He was good size. He was a good sized man. He was 6 feet tall, but 6 foot even, which, a few years later in the WWF, that would have been considered small. But he was 6 feet tall, 235 pounds, from Camden, New Jersey. He actually passed away in 1992, June 26th of 1992, at the age of 71, by the way. He passed away in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Some people don't know, after his wrestling stint was over, his in-ring career, he was a manager. Most famously, he managed Jimmy Superfly Snuka. If you watched his episode, Jimmy Snuka's episode, that is, of Dark Side of the Ring, you will have known that. And, he managed him for years, and he was the epitome of a manager. Jimmy Snuka couldn't read, so he read things for him. He handled him. He really was a handler for Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and he had a lot of trust with the McMahon family, because just the way he was with the McMahons, he showed incredible loyalty to them, which we'll get into, like I said, during these matches. Last quick fact here. He was born on February 20th, 1921. His actual given name, his legal name, was Herman Gustav Rode Jr. I really couldn't see that on a marquee back in the day. Nature Boy, Herman Rode Jr. He was the son of German immigrant parents. So there you go. And he was a swimming champion. He participated in football, boxing, track, swimming, all that good stuff. So he was an athlete for sure, a man's man back in the day. And we will talk about all that right after we come back from our first break, and we are going to dive into Lou Thesz and Buddy Rogers from 1950. We'll be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Main Event Marks is a retro pro wrestling podcast hosted by two lifelong wrestling marks and walking wrestling encyclopedias, Troy and Greg. Every Wednesday, we do a breakdown and review from a fan's perspective on some of wrestling's biggest and most forgotten shows ever, along with the industry news from that time period, taking you back in history to when that event took place. Main Event Marks is available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow us on social media at @MainEvent_Marks.
Now, back to our program.
Now that we're back, we can dive into our first match here on our lineup. It is our longer of the two. It's Lou Thesz versus Buddy Rogers, the Nature Boy, the original, the one and only. So if you click on the link, if you want to watch along with us, that is, if you want to click the link down in the podcast description, it's the first one. It is 36 minutes, 25 seconds long, but we are starting at triple zeros all the way down. So that is where we are starting here with Thesz versus Rogers. You should be on a black screen with white lettering. It says Lou Thesz versus Buddy Rogers, Chicago International Amphitheater, and then it's got some lettering down in some brackets there. But we are going to count down from 3 to 2 to 1, and when I say play, everybody hit the play button. So here we go.
3, 2, 1, play.
This comes to us, we are watching this, thankfully, because of the Chicago Film Archives. It is Wrestling from Chicago. There you see Buddy Rogers. A lot of people don't remember that look of his. They remember the capes and the robes and whatnot that he would occasionally wear, but a lot of people don't remember that sided singlet that he would wear, kind of like if you think of like Jerry the King Lawler without the tights, just the singlet that he pulls over, or the old Andre the Giant look, or the Big Show, or when he was the Giant, I guess. It's a single-sided singlet with some a lot of sparkles on it. I wish it was colorized so you could kind of see what it looked like. And I'm wondering if that guy at ringside that he handed the cape to, is that supposed to be his kayfabe butler, or is that like an actual like a ring guy that's just there to collect stuff at the ring? I really don't know. And this is all black and white, obviously. And as you can see, everybody is right up in front of the ring. There's not a barrier. There's not anything to keep them back. It's like at a concert. They're right up at the ring. And there is the man, the myth, the legend, Lou Thesz, everybody. This is a 2 out of 3 falls match with a 60-minute time limit, by the way. Just announced the Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. At this point, he was... he was 29, I believe. So, 29 years old when this match hit. Took place, like I said, June 21st, 1950. The NWA World Champion is Lou Thesz. He's putting the title on the line against Rogers here.
As I say, he's tough. He's got a one.
As with all title matches at the time, it was a 2 out of 3 falls with a 60-minute time limit. That was just NWA rules back in the day. Let's see, what I'm reading here about the match, it says it took place at Wrigley Field and was later broadcast on the Wrestling from Chicago TV series. I don't know, because this right here is saying it took place at the Chicago International Amphitheater. So I'm going to believe the Film Archives instead of Google, but I don't know. Lou Thesz, it's funny that, everybody kind of took a stage name back then, because this was you know, I think I misspoke earlier about the date. I was reading the wrong date to you guys. Yes, okay, I see the right date here. It is January 26th. January 26th. So this is a different match. Apparently they faced each other for the title a couple of times this year. Go to lock up. Buddy took off the singlet when they went to wrestle. Apparently that was just his entrance gear was that singlet. So now he's in just regular trunks. Obviously it's black and white, but you can kind of tell by the shade. I don't think they're just plain black trunks. Doing some head scissoring here. Is Lou Thesz on Buddy Rogers. He's showing some great athletic ability, being able to bridge out and whatnot.
You were trying to do a reverse backdrop, but instead of doing the reverse backdrop, you just dropped it.
Yes, this. I wonder now that I'm seeing this, how many times they faced off this year. How many times they faced off, period. Because this is a classic matchup between two big names in the old black and white days. There you see the Nature Boy strut a little bit as Rogers gets out of that hold. And they're back to locking up in the center of the ring. Inside headlock from Rogers, and Thesz tried to get out of it, and he headlock takedown took him over. So I'm, the cool thing about these holds, there's been so much that has fallen on, they say, with rest holds and everything. And somebody once told me in the wrestling business, they said there's no such thing as a rest hold if you're doing it correctly. Which I didn't think about it at the time, but that's very true. These guys are really working all the way through these holds. Lou Thesz, by the way, has been the NWA World Heavyweight Champion since November 27th, 1949. So he is about 2 months into his reign here when this match took place. This was his second, or no, I'm sorry, he was the second NWA World Heavyweight Champion. The first being Orville Brown, who won it in 1948.
New York papers. You see Lou stall that attempt at a rip.
But he didn't lose it, by the way, Thesz that is, until 1955. He lost it to Leo Nemelany. I've honestly never heard of Leo Nemelany. He was an Italian-American Hall of Fame American football offensive and defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers and professional wrestler. Yeah, I can see why he would want to lose to somebody like that, because he's quote-unquote legitimate. Yeah, working the headlock. There's the head scissors by Thesz. Oh, another headlock takeover by the Nature Boy. Man, they are really working, like, just quick here. Constant movement. Thesz is trying to pull Rogers down. He does. He's on the mat. He's fighting. He's not relinquishing that headlock. Thesz is shoving his face into the mat, taking him over again. But they're close to the ropes. Thesz won the championship again from Nemelany, by the way, in July of that same year that he dropped the title. So only a few months did Nemelany hold the thing. Oh, shoulder tackle or shoulder block by Rogers. Almost dropped Thesz on his head. Working, took him over head, ass over tea kettle there with the hammerlock. That's a stiff, rough looking hammerlock. Thesz quickly became a 3-time champion, by the way, because this, like I said, this is his first reign He lost it in March of 55 to No Melanie, excuse me. He won it back in July of that year, and then he dropped it the very next March in 1956 to Whipper Watson. Whipper Watson. And then he won it back in November of that year. So every time he dropped it, he didn't drop it for very long. He did lose it in June of 1957 to Edouard Carpentier, I think is how you pronounce his last name. I know it's Carpentier. Carpentier dropped it back to Lou Thesz in July. So he won it in June, dropped it back in July. Dick Hutton won the title from Lou Thesz in November. And then Hutton dropped it to Pat O'Connor, which would lead to our very next match, where Pat O'Connor is defending the World Heavyweight Title of the NWA against Buddy Rogers. The ref backed him up, by the way, here. We talked a little bit in the last episode about how the referee kind of dressed in the first match we watched from MSG. He just kind of wore a gray dress shirt tucked into his gray dress slacks. Here, he's wearing a white dress shirt tucked into his slacks, and he rolled the sleeves up and he unbuttoned the top button. So he doesn't really look much like a referee. He just kind of looks like a guy walking around the ring, looking for the cafeteria at his job.
You can only make so many deposits like that, and then you're going to get a dividend.
These two have really just been wrenching on each other's body parts and working going into another side headlock is Rogers. He's really been doing a lot of work with the headlocks. And again, constant movement out of Lou Thesz here. He's on the mat, but he's not sitting still. We haven't even had a first fall yet, ladies and gentlemen. Just to kind of tell you a little bit about the venue that we're seeing this match take place in right here in 1950. Where it took him right over. Lou Thesz got almost looks like a calf crusher on Rogers. It's a nice little heel hold there. Wrench in the foot. My word. The International Amphitheater in Chicago was, it only stood between 1934 and 1999. I say only, but 65 years is a pretty good run for a venue, I'd say. Especially, one built in the 30s. So, it was, adjacent to the Union Stockyards, if anybody knows Chicago at all. The classic, yes, Buddy Rogers trying to work out of that hold, how they get out of a calf crusher now, just reach back and wrap your arm around his head and bring him down, but Thesz got out of it. He's still got that heel hold. Oh, he's bringing him back down to the mat, got him in a headlock. He finally broke the hold. Head scissors on Rogers from Thesz.
And did you see him kangaroo out of that thing?
But it's amazing to see all these old time, price points, because it said the arena was built for $1.5 million by the Stockyard Company. That's absolutely insane to think about a whole venue built for $1.5 million. Not going to happen in today's times, that's for sure. It could only hold 9,000 people. Which, for that time, I suppose was probably respectable. If you want to compare, by the way, cost of today's money, it's just shy of $29 million is what they built the venue for. But yes, it was demolished on August 3rd, 1999. Well, that's when the demolition began, anyway. I guess it took a while to tear it down. Rogers is still working that side headlock on Thesz, by the way. He's got Thesz taken over onto the mat. Thesz making sure to keep his shoulders up so he's not getting pinned. And he's got the head scissors again on on Rogers. Rogers trying to kick out. He's repeatedly kipping up, not getting out of it. He cannot break the legs, that leg lock that Lou Thesz has on him here. Ooh, took him over with the head scissors.
Have to break it up. They're out over the ropes. Mr. Rogers.
You know, a lot of people think that some of the stuff is boring, and there were some back in the day that, yes, they were so boring, and people liked it back then, but it was just very boring by today's standards. But this stuff, I mean, if you actually watch Thesz, kind of, but especially Buddy Rogers, I think he could get over at any time in wrestling history, in and out of the ring. He's timeless. If you ever watch highlight packages of his, he does flying head scissors, you know, he does there's the overhand chop there, kind of, but it's more of like a push slap to the chest with one hand.
This is one of the most aggressive wrestlers I've ever watched.
Not quite doing the knife edge chops that would later be perfected by the other Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
And another one.
He's kind of palming his forehead there. He's got Thesz in a side headlock, and the referee's like, "Oh, you're not punching him, are you?" You know, no, open hand, thrust to the face. Yeah, it's also funny to kind of see that ring. I guarantee this was not what would be described now as a bump-friendly ring or a bumping ring. Oh, there's the knee lift right to the gut by Rogers, and now Rogers takes him over with his own head scissors, his own locker, his legs locked around the neck of Lou Thesz, and Thesz is trying to get out of it. Kind of bad camera work here as Thesz. That looks inappropriate. How he's trying to get out of it here. More of like a 69 position there. And a knee from Rogers.
On top of the think tank there with his knee then.
But these rings back then were definitely more hard. It was more like a boxing ring. Because if you ever try to bump at a boxing ring, you're going to kill yourself. It hurts. Leapfrog. Oh, Rogers, not pretty running around the ring, just stumbling and flopping like he'd actually, been thrown. We saw a leapfrog from Lou Thesz and a takedown there, and now he's actually like wrestling with him, mat wrestling around on the mat. Now those turnbuckles are hard. They are just nothing but, steel wrapped with like tape or something. The ropes, I don't know what the ropes are made of. I assume those were actual ropes. Because I know Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the one that runs WWE now, it said that he always liked the old school ropes and not the cables that were used by like WCW and such.
By Fred Kohler here in Chicago. Before a terrific.
And Jim Cornette actually complained about that because I guess they had, in OVW when he was running it, they had cable ropes. And Vince insisted that they switch to regular ring ropes, and he and everybody else apparently hated it. But here we go. They're just swinging away at each other. Finally, they wrap up. They're in the corner, and bam, uppercut. I can't speak. Uppercut by Rogers right to the face. They tie up. They're back in the ropes, and they're grappling. Oh, and there's a knee lift right to the abdomen by Rogers. He's making sure that the crowd sees it. They know what he's doing. That's not fair. It's not some of this is not technically against the rules. It's just a little dirty, a little underhanded, getting heat. The crowd is going to want to stab him here in Chicago. They're going to want to make him wear some cement shoes. You know what I'm saying? And just a slap across the face. He backed Thesz into the ropes, and Thesz is not happy about that.
More eye gouging.
Makes sure to do that. Ric Flair did that too. Got the side headlock and just punching. Now he's uppercut right to the face. If those were working punches and they didn't hurt, my God, he's making them look like they were real. That was some good stuff. My word, just uppercutting the absolute tar out of Lou Thesz. And there you go with that hard corner, that turnbuckle like I was talking about. That was not padded. He just, bam, face first with Thesz right into it. And now he's got him bent over and punching him right in the face. And it's even funny where you see the ring posts. They look just like metal fence posts, like you'd see on a cyclone fence. It's all what it looks like. They aren't thick and beefy like they are now. And Rogers is really going to work with these uppercuts on Thesz, and there we get a body slam. Thesz is down. And another one. And there is no give to that ring. You don't see a bounce there. And he pile drove him. He pile drove Lou Thesz. There's a cover. 2, 3. Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers, takes the first fall with the stump pile driver. That's nuts. Points at his head. I am the smarter man. I am the winner. Now remember, this is 2 out of 3 falls, but that is the first fall. Let's track it here. See if we can hear anything.
An outcast, socially, and other things. Here's Thesz's dad.
Lou Thesz's father is his corner man.
Pile driver, Buddy Rogers.
You should see, if you're not watching along, you probably couldn't hear the audio for the ring announcer is very low. Well, there we go. Some gray screen between the falls. I guess it's intermission time. They would usually take intermission between the falls to... Yeah, I guess they went back to the locker room because Thesz is in his entrance cape again. Buddy Rogers has his hair all pretty yet again. Probably went back and slicked it back. Now they're back for fall numero dos. And Rogers going right to work with kidney punches on Thesz. What a heel. Nowadays, we probably wouldn't think anything of it because so much has been bastardized nowadays. But just these little... Just the uppercuts and everything. And Thesz is like, come on, bring it on. And he's getting out of the ring. He's on the apron. The ref is like, get back in. He's counting him out. But yeah, for what I was going to say about the ring announcer, if you guys aren't watching this along with me, his microphone is gigantic. And it's not one of them that drops from the ceiling. He has to like carry it around. It's like one of those old-timey radio mics that sits on the desk. And it's huge. And he's carrying it around and talking in it. He's working on the leg. Rogers, single leg takedown on Thesz. He's sitting on the leg and cranking it. And the referee is telling him, get off. And I don't know why he was celebrating there. Maybe just to piss off the crowd. And Thesz is on him like white on rice. Like stink on crap. And there's a chop. An overhand chop from Rogers to Thesz. Thesz just, he looks like he could just kill you and not think twice. They're going to do it looked like you were going for the test of strength spot, but I don't think that was popularized in 1950, so they're going right back to the collar elbow tie up. He's in the ropes, and there's an uppercut. Ooh, and a forearm by Thesz sends Rogers into the front lap of the people in the front row. My word. Rogers went ass over tea kettle, out the middle rope, into the laps of the people in the front row, and he's holding his ear. So I got blasted in the ear with that forearm. I can't... No, he's begging off. Back off, Thesz. Come on, buddy. Get out of here, Lou.
He's a great possum player.
And it's a very different crowd. I mean, obviously, you look at, 1950, 2021, it's a 71-year difference. But it's funny to see. Nowadays, you got, all the wrestling nerds in the crowd with their T-shirts and everything. And, Rogers reversed what looked like a piledriver attempt into a bridge. It got out of it, and there's Thesz with a giant knee lift to Rogers. And Rogers has the audacity to complain. He lifted his knee into my face. Come on, ref. But anyway, you see the guys and I'm one of those nerds in the crowd with the wrestling shirts and all that. I have so many wrestling shirts I can't even count them. But back here you see the guys in the zoot suits, and they got their fedoras on. They got their neckties and whatnot. They're intently watching like they would the old timey like boxing matches and whatnot. And there's a slap to wake up Lou Thesz. He's ready to whoop some ass and eat the Nature Boy alive here. Another collar elbow tie up. He's got him. Ooh, big shove coming off the ropes. And there's a head scissor takedown by Buddy Rogers. I was telling you about his athleticism, and he's holding on to it. Stands up, knee right across the chest and throat.
Alive. You expect to hear Darktown Strutters.
Like I said, he's about 29 here. He looks every bit of it. But still, he's more of a, even though he's a flamboyant, blonde-haired, pretty boy, and he looks young, he's still gruff for his age. He's an athlete, a professional athlete. And there's quite a innovative counter there from Thesz. I mean, it's logical. To get out of it, he just turned around and kneed him right in the side, and they stood right back up, and another side headlock takeover by Buddy Rogers. Not to inundate you with more facts about this venue here, but I was just looking. The Chicago Amphitheater, what was the International Amphitheater here? Like I said, the capacity was 9,000. It was first home to the Chicago Packers NBA team from 1961 to 1962 before changing their name to the Chicago Zephyrs and then moving to the Chicago Coliseum for their second season. It was also the home of the Chicago Bulls during their inaugural season of 1966 to 1967. And they also played only one game in the Chicago Coliseum, a playoff game in their first season, as no other arena was available for a game versus the St. Louis Hawks. Yes, the St. Louis Hawks. Nuts. Obviously, they moved to Atlanta at one point. But anyway, afterwards, the Bulls then permanently moved to Chicago Stadium. The amphitheater was also the primary home of the Chicago Cougars of the WHA, which is the World Hockey Association, from 1972 to 1975. It was originally intended to be only a temporary home for the Cougars, but ended up being a permanent solution. The permanent solution, the Rosemont Horizon, was not completed until 1980. And then 5 years after, the team folded. So there's that. Getting back here, I'm sorry, I'm missing some of this match here. Rogers is still playing ever playing the heel. Just side headlock and bam, bam, just doing it again. Fist to the temple, fist to the forehead. He's just socking him, just punching away. This was the stuff. If you're watching this is the stuff. If you're of a certain age, that your grandparents, your great grandparents would get dinner and they'd let's sit around the TV and watch some wrestling, and they'd put this on. that dirty so and so, the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. How dare he do that to the great Lou Thesz? Lou is such a good old boy. And there you go, airplane spin from Lou Thesz, and he's just going for it. Slams him down. 1, 2, 3. That does it. The airplane spin gets Lou Thesz fall number 2. Let's track it.
Well battered into submission. Yeah, you lost, Buster. No recourse.
You lost, Buster.
You weren't using the open part of your hand. It was your knuckles. We could see it.
My word. This commentator is great.
In 6 minutes, 49 seconds, by an airplane spin, Lou Thesz.
So here's Thesz again. These guys have changed corners here tonight. Off and on. Thesz is finally back in the corner where he belongs again. Here's his daddy. Tiny man alongside of him.
There's his daddy alongside of... My gosh, this commentator, man. This is good stuff.
And oh, we're getting all prettied up. I wonder when he...
And yeah, the butler of Buddy Rogers, I assume that's what he's supposed to be. He's just, Dapper Dan over there. Looks like, the stereotypical guy you would call Jeeves. He's toweling off Buddy Rogers in the corner. This is fun. They're selling pictures in the crowd. Rogers is like, how much are you selling my pictures for? Huh? Get over here. How much are you selling these pictures for? He took one of his own pictures and he's holding it up. He's like, hey, buy it. Give me money. Buy my picture. Jeeves, get out.
You get that fishhook gesture there of Rogers's? Well, we've got a fall.
Some good quality heel work here from Buddy Rogers. The best of the best. Before there was a Ric Flair, there was a Buddy Rogers. And like I said, we can always point to Gorgeous George as, the original, the great heel, Gorgeous George, which he is. And he deserves a lot of the credit for that. But my word, oh, there's some athleticism. Flipping over with a head scissor takedown is Lou Thesz. And now he's really going for it, shouldering him into the ropes. Like, hey, buddy, back off. There's that knee lift again, right into the ribs. And Thesz is out for blood. He said, hey, man, that's some dirty pool. Bad form, Rogers. There's a collar elbow tie up yet again. Center of the ring. It's back when they still tried to make it look like wrestling and, not just sports entertainment. There's a shoulder block off the ropes. Leapfrog by Thesz. Drop down. And there's the strut. Rogers does his nature boy strut. He holds on to the ropes. He said, I'm smarter. I'm smarter than all you yokel locals. Good grief. That's some good stuff. The Nature Boy strut against Lou Thesz.
Wrestle, buddy.
This amphitheater, by the way, also played host to the 1952 Republican National Convention, where they nominated Dwight D. Eisenhower. Excuse me. And Richard Nixon for vice president, by the way. I forgot about that. And they also hosted the 1952 Democratic National Convention. They nominated Adlai Stevenson for president and John J. Sparkman for vice president. They hosted the Democratic National Convention in '56. They nominated Stevenson again. So obviously they lost. In 1960, they held the Republican National Convention for Nixon and Harry Cabot Lodge Jr. for vice president. They lost that one to JFK, actually. And they also held the 1968 Democratic National Convention. That was the last one they held for Hubert Humphrey and Vice President Edmund Muskie for vice president. They lost. I forget exactly who won in '68.
Well, that's not a hard job, believe me.
But this, oh my gosh, this armbar by Thesz. He's got the armbar. He's got his feet, one foot on the neck, one foot in the armpit of Buddy Rogers, and he's pulling on the arm, putting him in traction, baby. Trying to keep him down.
Counter for this full stretch is a roll-up. In other words, you slip your...
Also, Elvis Presley performed a concert in this venue in 1957. And he was wearing his gold suit for the first time. And on September 5th, 1964, and August 12th, 1966, the Beatles performed there. And the 66 show was the first show of what proved to be their final tour. And by the way, I'm talking over here, Thesz just got socked repeatedly in the face, closed fist by Buddy Rogers, and got dumped into the laps of the men and women in the front row, mostly men. Rogers tried to dump him out on the other side, didn't work. Now he's just uppercutting him, punching him right in the forehead, going to work on that forehead, trying to turn it into ground beef. Beaten on Thesz with that fist. We talked about physical contrasts in the last episode of Triple R between Dusty Rhodes and superstar Billy Graham. There's some, not quite as stark, but there's some contrast, with the looks here between them. Oh my word! Rogers did 2 shoulder blocks in a row, and he goes to do a third, and he's in a hangman spot in between the ropes. He's getting choked out, and the ref counted him out.
Here's Buddy's varlet in here.
Track it.
Well, all right, let him hang.
My word.
Well, as he's leaking off the edge of the mat there, you better get him.
I don't see how that was fair to count him out there.
Thesz still remains the World Heavyweight Champion of the world. Keeps the NWA belt. And keeps his pappy happy. Buddy Rogers, meanwhile, down here. Champion and still champion, says the ring announcer. Where is Buddy Rogers here? See if we can find him. Well, there's Lou.
Buddy Rogers went for a flying shoulder tackle, missed, and had his head go between the middle and top rope and flipped over and got into a hangman spot, and the referee counted him out. He counted him out. That championship belt looks like I've seen belt buckles larger than that in Texas. So that is a tiny world title. If that really is Lou Thesz's dad, just wow. He's much larger than his father. Doesn't look much like him.
All of the looks on the face of the crowd down here is that he is out.
So that is the 1950 NWA World Heavyweight Title. My word. They talk about, well, it's not a belt because it doesn't hold up your pants. Well, that looks like it could be used as a legit belt to hold up your pants. We still have not seen hide nor hair of Buddy Rogers since he got dumped out of the ring after being hung. The police are going over there. It's like, hey, what happened to him? Let him hang, as the commentator said. Ah, there he is. He's okay. Well, that is the end of that one. So, that was Lou Thesz and Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. I really enjoyed that match, actually, more than I thought I would. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to watch our next match, which is Rogers versus O'Connor. O'Connor's defending the NWA title against Rogers. We'll be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Main Event Marks is a retro pro wrestling podcast hosted by 2 lifelong wrestling marks and walking wrestling encyclopedias, Troy and Greg. Every Wednesday, we do a breakdown and review from a fan's perspective on some of wrestling's biggest and most forgotten shows ever, along with the industry news from that time period, taking you back in history to when that event took place. Main Event Marks is available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow us on social media at @mainevent_marks.
Now, back to our program.
All right, we're back for the final time today, and I know we're going to run a little long with this one, longer than I wanted to, but hey, it's Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and these are some historically great matches. We'll have more in the future, for sure, on Rogers, but I just wanted to squeeze these two in here. It's pushing it but I think it's worth it. This one is Buddy Rogers versus Pat O'Connor. If you want to click the second link down in the description and follow along, we are at 000 here on the time. The total time of the video, 28 minutes, 26 seconds. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to count from 3 to 2 to 1 and say play. When I do say play, click play. And just as a quick note, we're going to track it from the beginning, so you're going to hear some audio.
3, 2, 1, play.
When fans today are told the name of flamboyant, charismatic, effervescent wrestler with great technical skills and who calls themselves the Nature Boy, you would think of the modern great Ric Flair. He, however, was not the original Nature Boy. That distinction goes to the great Buddy Rogers. For some, it's easy to gain acceptance as a beloved figure, but for others, it is a goal to be despised by everyone watching.
And we're going to cut it off there, but yeah, that was the voice of Mean Gene Okerlund over this. If you want to hear that, after we're done here with the podcast, go back and check that out. This is brought to you by Classic Wrestling is the handle on YouTube, and the link down in the video description, by the way, is dead. So I already tried it. It doesn't work. And there we go, already with the uppercut from Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and a little bit of a strut around the ring.
Go either way. So who are we?
Taking on NWA champion Pat O'Connor.
Who you? 240 pounds.
This took place at Comiskey Park in Chicago, Illinois. A record 38,622 wrestling fans saw this match. And it is a 2 out of 3 falls match here, as all NWA World Title matches were. Real quick to go on with the lineage of the NWA title here. This one, well, I'm not to ruin the ending here, but of such an old match, from, by the way, this was June 30th, 1961. So just throwing that out there. June 30th, 1961. Buddy Rogers wins this.
We'd like to remind you fans too, if you're in Chicago,
and he holds on to it. He holds on to the title for 145 days. He ended up losing it to Killer Kowalski, who defeated Rogers on November 21st after Rogers broke his ankle in the first fall. He was only recognized as champion in some states, such as Texas, until January 21st, 1963, when he lost a rematch to Rogers in New York City. So, there you go. And later, the title would go to Bruno Sammartino. On August 12, 1962, Bruno Sammartino defeated Buddy Rogers in Toronto, but refused to accept the title because Rogers had wrestled with an injury. The NWA considered Rogers' reign to last until Lou Thesz, because next you see Bobo Brazil in there, but Brazil refused the title because of a groin injury that Buddy Rogers had claimed to have. However, on September 6, 1962, Brazil was declared the champion because a doctor had determined that Rogers had not suffered an injury. The title change was not recognized by the NWA. So technically, Bobo Brazil was the first African-American World Heavyweight Champion ever in 1962, but like I said, it was not recognized. And then they show, Buddy Rogers later defeated Bobo Brazil. He defeated Killer Kowalski, and then he finally lost the title to Lou Thesz. He won it back later on. Promoters in the Northeast, the United States, refused to recognize Buddy Rogers' one fall loss to Lou Thesz. Apparently that one just, like I said, it was all 2 falls, except for this one, against Lou Thesz, where he lost in just 1 fall. So they said he was still the world champion, so the WWWF Worldwide Wrestling Federation that we talked about in the last podcast, they broke away from the NWA, Vince McMahon Sr. and Toots Mondt, and they declared that Buddy Rogers had won the world title, their first world title, in a tournament down in Rio de Janeiro, which didn't happen. kind of like what they later did with Pat Patterson in the Intercontinental title. Apparently, Rio just held all those fictional tournaments. And he became the first ever WWWF World Heavyweight Champion. And he later dropped it to Bruno Sammartino. So, there you go. That's a little history lesson there for you for Buddy Rogers and the NWA World Title. Meanwhile, in this match, it looks like Pat O'Connor is just about to rip Rogers' left arm out of frickin' socket there. He's just been twisting it and turning it. He's got this hammer lock on him here. My word.
As O'Connor grinds in.
He's a man. Such a man. Such a man.
Reaching for the rope.
Man, this, it's not hard hitting so far. It's just like Pat O'Connor just wrenching the bejesus out of his arm. And there's a punch, and O'Connor just going off on him. There's a scoop slam. And one from O'Connor now. Almost dropped Rogers on his head. And there's an arm drag right back in with hammerlock. About to rip his frickin' arm out of socket. O'Connor won his first... I missed it. They have little facts at the bottom of the screen here. He apparently won his first title in 1944 in Florida, I think it's what it said.
And this crowd has been screaming from the second it started.
And just working the arm holds in this one is what it's been mostly so far by O'Connor, but it's just the selling. And it looks like, it freaking looks painful as hell. I'll say that. If it's not, hot damn, both of them did a good job of making it look like he was about to just rip his arm off and beat him with it.
Dushnik of St. Louis. Nick Landis of Olympia in Detroit.
And Rogers just, no, not the arm. Not the arm. He's got his elbow taped up here, the right one. And O'Connor's going after the left arm. There's a clothesline kind of shoving him off, but there's a shoulder block by O'Connor. It comes back, and he gets an elbow to the face. Oh, no. Going for the figure four is Rogers, but there's a big chop right to the ear. A chop to, like, an overhand, like, side of the hand, like, thrust right into the ear. He's trying to do the pile driver, but Rogers just goes forward trying to take him down with a double leg. He's like, nope, you're not pile driving me, buddy. Knees him right in the chest.
Tumbled into the ropes. And referee Stan Starbenek called for the break.
And they're going back to the tie up. But he's trying to almost like a standing, like I think Dexter Loomis does that. I can't think of the. Oh, but he's pulling the hair. He's pulling the hair of Pat O'Connor. My gosh, what a dirty so-and-so. He's pulling the tights down to the mat. He's finally got him in a headlock.
By pulling on O'Connor's trunks, you saw it.
Here we go, Rogers fact. He was born in 1921 and began his career in, I don't know, but dyed his hair and became the Nature Boy. There you go. Herman Road is his real name. These facts are going by a little too quick. Sorry, guys. If you want to go back and watch the video, you can see them all.
For this championship match, Bob Klaus of Chicago. Physician at ringside, Dr. John Bellucci.
And they're working back onto their feet. They're making everything look big. Like I said, this one took place at Comiskey Park. So that was obviously a big place in Chicago. It was a record-breaking crowd here. It was the home of the White Sox from 1910 through 1990, built by White Sox owner Charles Comiskey and designed by Zachary Taylor Davis. So anyway, it hosted 4 World Series and more than 6,000 Major League Baseball games. And there is a pin by Rogers, I believe, off of a shoulder block there, right to the face. I'm looking at 2 screens at once, so I kind of missed the impact move there.
Stunning blow as he brought that knee up.
No, let's track it here for a moment. Hear the announcer.
in this first fall over O'Connor, who is stunned and led back to his corner. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on this sound off, we're going to try desperately in a couple of minutes to talk to three men who are world famous as tag team champions, the Kangaroos, and their very loquacious manager, Red Berry. I hesitate.
Oh, man, he's talking to the fabulous Kangaroos. How about that? I definitely want to try to find some of their tag matches. They were a world-traveled, very famous tag team back in this era, and I'm looking forward to trying to find something of theirs. I know they performed, pretty sure anyway. They performed in World Championship Wrestling in Australia, ran by Jim Barnett for years. Obviously, they're Australian, and I'm looking forward to that. So if anybody, by the way, finds any of their matches, like full matches, not just highlights, send them my way. Send me the links. So I'll be happy to take a look at them. I would love to review them.
The man wins who knows he is fit before he starts. I know that.
So, yeah, but anyway, in the intermission, because that's what they did back in the day, for those that don't know, between the falls, they would take intermission. And, they'd do interviews, they'd go get popcorn, they'd go to the bathroom, whatever.
They sure are. We've been getting nothing but toss-up opinions from the other wrestlers we've talked to.
Also, by the way, this park, this Comiskey Park, one of the most famous boxing matches in history took place at the field. It was the 1937 heavyweight title match between Joe Louis defeating then-champion James J. Braddock in 8 rounds that launched Lewis's unprecedented 11-plus year run as the heavyweight champion of the world. So there you go. Also, the Chicago Cardinals of the NFL played at Comiskey Park for a while. So before Soldier Field and Wrigley Field were built.
To retain his world's heavyweight crown.
And we go right back to the second fall here. Ding, ding, ding. And Rogers is taking him down with a hammerlock. Got the arm behind the back of Pat O'Connor.
He was done, but he stormed back and using tip.
I apologize if you hear coughing at all. I don't have a cough button here on my recording equipment. And there's Rogers by the hair, taking him down. What a dirty SOB. Look at that.
For the moment, Rogers has the upper hand in this second fall.
That's some good stuff.
Remember, there will be another match if this one does not go the full 60 minutes. Argentina.
By the way, Comiskey Park closed in September 30th, 1990. Not sure I mentioned that. It opened in 1910, lasted over 90 years, about 90 and a half years to September of 1990. So, and it was demolished in 1991. It only cost $750,000 to build, which in today's money is about $20 million. So, big stuff there.
And he's behind now.
Rogers just holding O'Connor down to the mat with that hammerlock. He's not letting him get up. He's not giving him an inch. Both of them are just working the arm. I'm surprised he's not working the leg for the figure four. Took him down by the face. O'Connor was about to get up, and he just he grabbed his jaw and his face, and he yanked him down.
A top income producer in the $100,000 a year category.
Now O'Connor's trying to fight back up. He's in a seated position. He's about to punch him. You can't punch him, O'Connor. That's illegal. I know he does it all the time, but it's illegal. You're a good guy. You're a baby face. You can't punch the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers in the face. What's wrong with you? Now he took him down by the legs. Now he's going to work on Rogers' legs. Rogers like, no.
Breaks that hold.
He's cranking the ankle. In May of 1960, O'Connor was named the inaugural AWA World Heavyweight Champion. I forgot about that. That's right. Thus making him the first and only simultaneous NWA and AWA World Champion.
With that leg stretch.
So there's a nice little aside for you about Pat O'Connor.
Buddy Rogers is 33 years old. Has been wrestling since...
And, there's a kip up by O'Connor, taking him down, single leg takedown, going back to the ankle and the knee, cranking the leg to the side. Oh my gosh, he's got the ankle sideways.
That first fall.
Now what's funny is he's not only cranking the one ankle, the right ankle of Buddy Rogers, he's standing on the left one. There, Rogers finally got free and kicked him. There's a shoulder block and a drop kick and a kip up by Pat O'Connor, and he's back to the leg. He's driving the knee into the thigh and cranking the ankle, the left leg of Buddy Rogers there. Quite a sequence. You know, they knew how to do that stuff back in the day. They just didn't abuse it. You know, when you have a quick flurry like that, gets the crowd all riled up, then you go right back into the holds, man. Keep it legit.
In this best of 3 match.
You know, it was a shoulder block by, I believe O'Connor shoulder blocked him into the ropes, comes back. Rogers hit a drop kick. O'Connor hit the mat, kipped up. And, went right back into a single leg takedown, and there you go. Buddy Rogers is the first and only wrestler to hold both the NWA and WWWF title belts simultaneously. I mentioned that previously. And Rogers managing to take him down, and, man, O'Connor was definitely a squirrely one. And he actually nailed him closed fist right to the nose area. And he's like, come on, stand up. And Rogers begging off. No, I've had enough. Back off, man. You hurt me. They're going at it. Side headlock. There's a punch to the jaw.
And he takes another blow across the face.
Oh, man. And punch to the forehead. I'm shocked. O'Connor's playing by Rogers' game. He's not letting him dictate it. There's a Beal. But Rogers is right back up. Shoulder block. Kip up by O'Connor. Into the ropes. O'Connor roll. He's back. 1, 2, 3. And O'Connor is literally jumping for joy. Let's track it real quick.
Coming back to get the pin on Buddy Rogers, winning the second fall. It's all even. And we'll have the third and deciding fall in just a moment. Let's get the official time from our ring announcer, Leonard Sterling. Our sound-off guest here at Comiskey Park, where better than 50,000 people have gathered to watch this World's Heavyweight Championship match between O'Connors and Rogers, is the mighty Atlas. Atlas, what do you think of this crowd?
Well, this is making...
I don't care what he thinks of this crowd. So they're going to do more interviews between the falls. I like how he gorilla monsooned it. I guess that was just an old Carney thing of, we have well over 50,000 people here to witness this match. There's 38,622. So you're a little off, but nice try.
Exciting match. And how do you think?
Either way, I'm trying to find the actual capacity, the record attendance for Comiskey Park for anything. By the way, just any sport, any event, anything was 55,555. That is a sold-out, jam-packed house, not a seat available. They couldn't squeeze another seat in there with a crowbar. That was for the May 20th, 1973 game between the White Sox and Minnesota, the Minnesota Twins. So, and the smallest crowd, by the way, took place 2 years before that, only 511. Think about that. A park that can hold 55,555 people, they only got 511 people in there to witness the White Sox take on the Red Sox back on May 6th, 1971.
I might say I've had a win
So there you go.
some years back, and I haven't had the opportunity.
And they're still talking. He's still talking to the mighty Atlas. I got to hear this voice real quick.
Thank you very much, Atlas.
Never mind. We are starting the next ball.
I'll be third and deciding fall.
The third and deciding fall here. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers strutting around the ring. And Pat O'Connor looking like he's going to eat him alive.
Comiskey Park.
Let's see, 61. So, here we go. Crisscross. Rogers comes. Oh, he stops and strutting around. Gotta get the strut in. I'm smarter. I'm smarter than Pat O'Connor. There you go. Getting it in. All right. Back to the lockup, I guess. I don't know. They're circling. And I've had to point this out every match so far. The referee is just wearing looks like a white or gray polo tucked into his slacks. So, again, not much of a ref look. And Rogers is back to his old tricks of the uppercuts and the knee lifts in the ribs of old Pat O'Connor here.
Equally much to win. Rogers cannot lose his
He's pulling Rogers into the corner. And he's not taking any of Rogers' crap. Rogers punched him. Shoulder block, kip up, and double down. Double shoulder and head collision. Both men are down. The referee doesn't know what to do. He's crapping his pants.
They met head on in a collision in center ring.
O'Connor's first to his feet. He's going for that pile driver, but Rogers held onto the ropes, but they lost balance and they flopped out onto each other on the ring apron. Again, much like that last match I was talking about, there is no barrier. There's no ring mats outside. There's nothing. The crowd is literally right up to the ring. They could reach out and touch it. That is how close they are. They're right there. So you go outside the ring. If you're not on the apron, you are on somebody's lap. Kip up by O'Connor. What an athlete. And there's a big body slam. And Rogers ain't selling. That's got to hurt. This is not a bump-friendly ring like we talked about in the last match. And he's picking him up. Oh, not another. Nah, and he throws his butt. He didn't even just pick him up and scoop slam him. He chucked him. Foot on the rope. Rogers has his foot on the rope. O'Connor cannot finish the cover.
Rogers managed to get one leg up over on
the match continues.
And on Stan Sarbernick's signal,
we still, ladies and gentlemen, have about 6 minutes left in runtime for this video. And there's dirty uppercut by Pat O'Connor. He's not taking it here. He's rough and tough. He's not going to let Rogers get one up on him. He's not going to let him treat him like he did Lou Thesz 11 years before this. Throwing him, there's a Beal across the ring. And kudos to, and there's another just picking him up and chucking him with a body slam. My word, that was the epitome of body slam. Lays on him. No. All the referees won. Foot on the rope. Rogers has his foot outside the ring over the bottom rope.
So close. 2 times. Within a matter
of kudos to Rogers for taking these bumps, slamming around for O'Connor. O'Connor's just a physical freak, though, man. Like, he's been wrestling for over 20 minutes so far, and he's just, like, kipping up all over the place like it's no big deal. When I look at a guy like Pat O'Connor, I can't help but think Cesaro in the WWE right now. I don't understand how he's not and has never been a world champion. Probably never will be a world champion. I don't know. If Cesaro was around in this time, he would have, without a shadow of a doubt, been given the World Heavyweight Title in the NWA. Man, O'Connor's just getting kind of dirty fighting in the corner here with Buddy Rogers. And he headlocks him and he punches him right in the face. And then wow, he grabbed his face and then slammed the back of his head into that hard turnbuckle. Remember what I said in the last match, that is not padded. That is not soft. Like, they still kind of hurt today, but ow, and he threw him like ear first into the other turnbuckle.
Champion, showing no mercy.
That is just steel wrapped with like some tape. That is not padded very well. That is the hottest part of the ring, folks.
Rugged, brutal punishment.
Just slammed his ear into the other turnbuckle again. These guys were beyond flexible back in the day. Like, he's literally laid back on his leg like it's nothing. Buddy Rogers, that is. The fact that we haven't seen any blood, Rogers hasn't been hard-weighed here, just shocks me. There's so much drama and everything in this. These two now have just resorted to punching the hell out of each other. There's one to the gut by O'Connor, one to the face, and Timber. Here's a cover, one. Oh, nope. Foot on the bottom rope. I think you'd have learned by now. O'Connor just, man, he got on that cover. He doesn't just, they don't just lay on somebody and hook the leg this time. No. He ran and dove and, body splashed him. Is he biting him? My gosh. He Beal rolls him, and there's a drop kick to the face of Buddy Rogers, sending him face first into the turnbuckle. Against the ropes, coming back, and he missed a flying drop kick into the ropes. That had to hurt.
As Rogers managed to elude.
Oh, my groin. And there's Rogers trying to make it come back here. You can tell he's hurting in the groin area, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers. Capitalize. Come on, buddy. O'Connor is doing the smart thing. He's literally rolling around the ring so he doesn't get pinned. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's it. Let's track it.
Count. We had the count of 3 for Buddy Rogers, who gets the pin and wins the deciding fall in this World Heavyweight Championship match. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a new champion in Buddy Nature Boy Rogers.
I want to congratulate you.
Here we go.
As a new World Heavyweight Champion, as recognized by the National Wrestling Alliance.
There's a tiny looking belt, by the way.
Thank you very much, Fred. Fred, I want to thank you for making this match possible. But there's one thing I want everybody to know, and that is, to a nicer guy, it couldn't happen.
Both men gave everything they had.
To a nicer guy, it couldn't happen. There you go. One of my favorite lines. They're showing just some highlights here of Pat O'Connor when he first came to the ring with the title around his waist. Buddy Rogers celebrating. Good stuff, pal. And there's Gorgeous George. I assume I don't have the audio on right now, but I assume they're making comparisons between Rogers and George, though George was never a world champion at all. Kind of the flopping around style and whatnot. So, yeah, they're just kind of running down the lineage of the weird lineage that I ran down earlier in this match of the between what we just saw and Rogers eventually being the inaugural WWWF World Heavyweight Champion. So there you have it. 2 Buddy Rogers matches from Chicago. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we talked about it before that I wanted to go to Gorgeous George, but I think I'm going to put that off for a couple of weeks and do a little something different. I think next week we're going to talk about Toshiaki Kawada in Japan, because I said I wanted to spread the love. I didn't want to stick just to America and just to the NWA territories here in America, but I also wanted to explore but I also wanted to explore Mexico and Japan and all that they had to offer. Tons of amazing wrestling from out there as well, and Canada and Great Britain and all those places. So I'm going to dive into Toshiaki Kawada next week. I'm going to try to get up the Triple Crown Championship between Kawada and Dr. Death Steve Williams from All Japan Pro Wrestling, and we will talk about that. I will gear up all the stuff I can find on them, and we'll talk about it next week for a new watch-along on Retro Wrestling Review. Stay retro.